ASEAN is China's largest cooperation partner in the Asia-Pacific region.
So it's all the way about mutual interest, how we can go together, take advantage of the competitive advantage that we have between ASEAN and China.
Imagine the possibilities with the upgraded China-ASEAN Free Trade Area 3.0.
And of course, modernize the way we do business between ASEAN and China.
Amid increasingly complex global challenges.
So that's why I think it's important for us, for ASEAN and China, to work together for a shared future in that context.
Kao Kim Hourn, the 15th Secretary General of ASEAN, sat down for an exclusive interview with Leaders Talk. Stay tuned.
Hello and welcome to Leaders Talk, where we meet leaders, thinkers, and trailblazers. I'm Wang Guan in Jakarta, Indonesia. The trade between China and ASEAN exceeded $900 billion in the year 2023. That is more than the trade volume between China and the United States, and more than that of the European Union and the United States. But there are issues at hand, not least the maritime disputes in the South China Sea. How has China-ASEAN relations evolved in the past 3 decades, and where will this partnership go in the coming years and decades? Our guest today is Dr. Kao Kim Hourn, the Secretary General of ASEAN. Your Excellency, Dr. Kao, it's so good to see you here, and a very warm welcome to Leaders Talk on China Media Group.
Thank you very much for this opportunity.
Dr. Kao, I looked through your major speeches and presentations in the past couple of years regarding China-ASEAN relations, and I did. This is the proof. Nearly all of your speeches describing China-ASEAN friendship and fraternity, you use 2 words, substantive and dynamic. I suppose you put a lot of thought into those 2 words.
Well, if we look at the actual work that have been carried out in more than 3 decades, the growth, development, and transformation of the relationships, cooperation, and partnership have indicated that there is a strong momentum, there's a strong dynamism, and there's a lot of substance in the way both sides have been working together over those decades. So that's why I think these 2 words would capture the essence of the relationship between ASEAN and China.
And where do you see it going forward now that we've done marking the 3-decade anniversary, and you, in a speech, China-ASEAN Futures Relations Forum, you said there are 64 existing mechanisms between China and ASEAN, the most among ASEAN and its partners. Is that true?
That is a correct number, 64 mechanisms of cooperation between ASEAN and China cut across the 3 pillars of ASEAN community and the ASEAN connectivity. So very wide range. If you look at overall, among the 11 dialogue partners, ASEAN China has the most number of mechanisms.
So looking from the outside, there are so many different descriptions and narratives from the West, from our partners across the world on the nature of China-ASEAN cooperation. How would you describe the nature of this relationship?
Well, I think we have to look at facts. I think facts speak for themselves. Number one, there are many levels of cooperations across the different sectors and pillars of the community. And second, the depth of cooperation. So that's where you can see more engagement, more interactions between both sides. At the end of the day, is what we do together. I think that's important.
ASEAN, the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, was founded on August 8, 1967 as a regional cooperative organization of 10 Southeast Asian countries. Since its inception, ASEAN has been dedicated to promoting cooperation and development among its member states, as well as maintaining peace and stability in the region. China and ASEAN share close geographic and cultural ties and a long history of friendly relations. Since the Sino-ASEAN relationship commenced in 1991, both sides have deepened political trust and cooperation in trade, infrastructure development, technological innovation, and cultural exchanges. China has been ASEAN's largest trading partner for 16 consecutive years, and ASEAN has been China's largest trading partner for 5 consecutive years. With the advancement of the Belt and Road Initiative and the implementation of the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, the prospects for bilateral cooperation have grown even broader and the connections even closer, setting a global example of win-win cooperation and a shared future for both the Asia-Pacific region and the world.
You know, President Xi described the China-ASEAN relationship as the most successful and the most dynamic when it comes to cooperations across Asia-Pacific.
Well, I think it's correct. Trade alone already speaks for itself. It means that we have been trading together very heavily, cut across all commodities and in different areas in economic cooperation. Second, look at investment. Of course, investment, China has been number 2 consistently over so many years. Again, investment is important for ASEAN because it helps create jobs for the people. And third, look at, of course, also the area of tourism cooperation. This is part of people-to-people cooperation. So we've seen a lot of Chinese tourists over so many years. And at the same time, we look at connectivity in terms of air-to-air connectivity, air connectivity in terms of rail connectivity, port-to-port connectivity, people-to-people connectivity. All of this, I think, will demonstrate where the commitment lies between us and China.
Mm-hmm. Talking about the trade volume, why do you think the trade between our two sides, China and ASEAN, is so significant? And what does that say about the complementarity of our two peoples, economies?
Well, it's growing. The number is there, but I don't think this number will stay there. It will continue to grow. Today, ASEAN has more than 671 million people, third ranking after China and India. So it's up there, it's growing. Second, of course, is that increasingly we are taking advantage of a number of opportunities. Of course, proximity. At the same time, we have the bilateral FTA, ASEAN-China FTA. That's important for trade, for business community, that they take advantage of this opportunity. At the same time, we have the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership. And again, this is another level of opportunity to support trade, the ongoing trade between the two sides. I think, as a matter of fact, it's about benefits, mutual benefits on both sides.
Each day, there are millions of stories. Each one can open new perspectives, new possibilities. Wherever you look, we are there to see, discover, explore. We put the pieces together to find what really matters to you, all around the world, all around the clock. Our reporters are at home across the globe. From our headquarters in Beijing and production centers in Washington, Nairobi, and London. Stories from across the globe, reaching people across the globe. CGTN. See the difference.
You might think you are better informed in an information age. The fact is, people are more often misled by misinformation. You might think every voice is heard in a digital world. The fact is, many nations and peoples are still underrepresented. And data poverty shuts out many. We at CGTN are committed to transcending the information gap and the digital divide. CGTN, bridging nations and civilizations. CGTN, see the difference.
We are all connected. Across borders, across continents, connected by ideas, a shared humanity. Stay connected.
On October 10, 2024, during the 27th China-ASEAN Leaders Meeting in Vientiane, Laos, both sides announced the substantial conclusion of version 3 of the China-ASEAN Free Trade Area negotiations and issued a joint statement. Launched in 2002, completed in 2010, and upgraded to version 2 in 2015, the China-ASEAN Free Trade Area is the first for both China and ASEAN. Negotiations for version 3, which began in November 2022 and lasted nearly 2 years, focused on enhancing cooperation in emerging sectors, harmonizing standards and regulations, facilitating trade, and promoting inclusive development and regional integration. Both sides are now preparing to sign an upgrade protocol in 2025, marking a new chapter in their economic and trade relationship.
Just give a contour of what it will look like and what sectors will there be additional and new and exciting opportunities for investment and trade with this FTA 3.0?
I think it's certainly will go into all kinds of areas that were not traditionally there. Of course, hopefully should be working together more on e-commerce, for example. That's the kind of area we should be looking at because the digital economy is growing. I'm sure for China or certainly for ASEAN. At the moment, we are working together among ASEAN member states, 10 member states, to negotiate the digital economy framework agreement. So again, I think digital economy is important. We have to look at all other new areas, including the green, the blue economy sector. This is also growing. We certainly have to look at what more can be done, particularly in the agriculture sector. So it's all the way about mutual interest, how we can work together, take advantage of the competitive advantage that we have between ASEAN and China. The upgrade of bilateral FTA to 3.0 will make it more relevant, future fit for the businesses on both sides, and that will help to facilitate trade even more, reduce more trade barriers between both sides, and of course modernize the way we do business between ASEAN and China.
Talking about connectivity, there have been a lot of projects touching lives here in Southeast Asia under the Belt and Road Initiative. For example, the Jakarta-Bandung Railroad, the China-Laos Railway, the Phnom Penh-Sihanoukville Expressway, so on and so forth. And you said many times that you expect synergies between ASEAN's own program known as the Master Plan of ASEAN Connectivity 2025 and China's BRI. Do you see that happening?
Well, it has been happening already. Connectivity is a very important priority for ASEAN. That's why we have the Master Plan of ASEAN Connectivity, ASEAN Master Plan of Connectivity Impact 2025. Of course, we will have a new one soon.
The Vision 2045?
Yeah, that's right. We'll be part of the ASEAN Community Vision 2045. Mm-hmm. Under this 20-year vision, we will have 4 new strategic plans, one of which will be on the ASEAN connectivity. But coming back to the issue of the real projects, what I consider to be real projects that have high impact on public goods. The Bandung, for example, Jakarta-Bandung speed train. Now this is a public good project. Will benefit the people of Indonesia, will benefit the people of ASEAN, will benefit the visitors, the tourists that are coming to Indonesia. The same thing, we talk about the expressway in Cambodia from Phnom Penh to Sihanoukville. The same thing, I understand that the speed train that been built in Laos as well. That, of course, I think now we've been riding on a train, moving from Vientiane to Luang Prabang, for example, because there used to be a lot of meetings now in Luang Prabang, so we have to take speed train. It usually take about a few hours, but it's very convenient. So I think it's good that we have to do more to connect ASEAN countries together, of course, also connecting ASEAN and China.
Your Excellency, I want to move on and talk about China, which you've been visiting since many, many years and even decades ago. What impressed you when it comes to the transformation of China, the Chinese people, culture, anything that stands out and sticks out to you in your mind that you think something that is you can deeply resonating with?
Traveling from airports to downtown was You see China is clean, green, safe, of course. I think it's the development transformation of China has been amazing over the years. Compared, say, when I was visiting China in the 90s, to recently, I think last year and this year, it's a lot of transformation. And I think this is something that has to do with a lot of work has been done. Any development requires a lot of hard work. So I think the transformation of China is no magic. It's all about leadership, about hard work that has been put into it. Like in other countries that you have to really invest. You have to work hard to transform the country. And it takes, I'm sure, a tremendous amount of investment of leadership, investment of resources, and hard work of the people of that country. In this case, for China also.
During your China visits, which have been many, each time you go to a Chinese province, you would go to a university first. Some of the times, if not most of the times, you would ask a provincial leader if there can be more exchange programs, sending more ASEAN students to China and vice versa. Why would you do that?
Well, youth is the future of our region, of course, ASEAN, of course, I'm sure China. They are the future leaders. So we have to invest in our youth. Today, ASEAN youth account for about 1/3 already of the population of ASEAN. So I think we have to reach out to the youth, whether in ASEAN or in China, wherever we go. I have to promote ASEAN public diplomacy. It's important that in the case when I visit China, I want to ensure that Chinese youth become more aware of ASEAN and to encourage them to engage ASEAN, because it's important to get the youth to work together. At the end of the day, it's up to them to promote peace, cooperation, and development. So that's why I think it's important for us to build the relationship, start as early as possible.
I see a country on the move.
There's my opportunity.
Is it good to change so fast?
Yes, but it's a challenge.
We have one foot in the future.
But we never forget our past.
We need to talk to one another.
And listen.
More than 1 billion voices telling their stories. Rediscovering China, only on CGTN. Images may appear to be identical, but looks can be deceiving. The difference is not always obvious. It has to be discovered. There are always different sides to a story. We put the focus on the details. To see more, to understand better. CGTN. See the difference. Facing the unknown is always difficult. In a world in turmoil, it's easy to lose orientation. But when the storms come, we have to see the possibilities. Reinvent. Find new opportunities. Discover a path forward. CGTN. See the difference.
Talking about leadership, Chinese President Xi Jinping proposed Global Development Initiative, Global Security Initiative, and Global Civilization Initiative, and also building a community with a shared future for the world when it comes to this region, China-ASEAN community with a shared future. How do you look at these Chinese initiatives proposed by President Xi Jinping?
For sure, I think we have a shared future. And our future lies in making sure that we have long-term peace. We should never think that war and conflict are obsolete. So I think this is something that I think shared future that we have between ASEAN and China. I think that's why President Xi Jinping, I think he wants to see long-term peace, I'm sure. Second, of course, is we want to make sure that we never take prosperity for granted. The economic development, economic growth and transformation require a lot of constant innovation, constant rethinking, constant leadership to look at how we can continue to invest in the economy and the economy continue to grow to benefit the people. So I think prosperity agenda has always been a shared prosperity. The fact that we have been doing a lot of trade together is a win-win cooperation. This is a shared prosperity, a shared future there. Third, of course, is about the planet agenda. What kind of future do we leave for our future generations? Again, this planet agenda, I think, is a win-win together if we work together very closely. And that's why we should welcome more green investment from China. We should welcome more participation of China in the renewable and clean energy in ASEAN, including turn waste into energy solutions project. I think that China has already the experience and technology there. In addition, we should also looking at the people. At the end of the day, the government, business are one thing, but the people is at the heart of the leaders. It's at the heart of China, I'm sure, at the heart of ASEAN. ASEAN is a people-centered, people-oriented community. So the people agenda has always been a very important priority for us in ASEAN. I'm sure for China too. It's all about partnership. We cannot do it alone. Some of the global issues today require more cooperation, more collaboration at the international level, and as well as the regional level. So that's why I think it's important for us in China to work together for a shared future in that context. So I think what has been pronounced by President Xi Jinping, I'm sure he's very visionary in that regard.
Secretary General, you helped found two think tanks, namely Asia Economic Forum and Asian Faith Development Dialogue, and you set up the University of Cambodia, and in particular, you set up a communications and journalism program. You also founded CTV, a major news outlet in Southeast Asia. What drives you to do that?
Well, those were the work of passion that beside my government work in Cambodia, I know I had a lot of work to do, but just additional work I want to support the development of the country. And that is to set up the university to return to the young people of Cambodia, that the best we can give to young people, of course, is education. On media front, of course, it's important to ensure that people get the right information. I think narratives is very important. How do we make sure that the people get the right narratives, the right information? Because we're living in the information age. I think even beyond information age now is information overloaded. What I have done in my earlier years is to burn my energy in a way that would be a contribution to the society in Cambodia. And of course, it's basically it's an investment in young people in Cambodia.
Secretary General, the chair of Indonesia's Foreign Policy Community, Mr. Dino Jalal, famously said that there should be 4 Ds in China-ASEAN people-to-people connections. I think durability, depth, density, and dearly,
yes.
Building heart-to-heart connections. Do you think because of proximity in land, in geography, and also in ethnicity and blood, there's a natural affinity among the Chinese and ASEAN, which can be a good foundation for us to carry this people-to-people relations even further?
Well, ASEAN and China, I think the relationship is defined by being close neighbors. I think this is undeniably, it's factual, it's a fact that we are neighbors by land, by air, by sea, including not just sea, but also river, for example, connected. We choose friends, but choose neighbors. So I think on this fact that we have to work together. And over many decades, of course, going back in history, we have historical ties, we have cultural ties, and we have now increasingly a strong economic ties, and of course political and security ties there that we have to work together. We have shared interests in just about everything we do together. That's why what is being reflected in the mechanism that we have on the one hand, but in the amount of activities, programs and projects that have been undertaken annually, just enormous. And I think that we have to make sure that we maintain this level of commitment and level of working together. At the same time, we have to continue, which we have been doing, is to manage our challenges constructively, and we have been able to do that. And moving forward, I'm sure that I'm fully confident that we will continue to see the relationship continue to transform in the most dynamic way.
Secretary General of ASEAN, Your Excellency, thank you so much for talking to us.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
There are 64 existing mechanisms between China and ASEAN, whereby Dr. Kao Kim Hourn believes that this partnership is one of the most dynamic and substantive anywhere in the world. Going forward, he looks forward to the strengthening of bilateral and multilateral relations between China and ASEAN, not just between governments and policymakers and businesses and markets, but between people and amongst people on all sides. Thank you for watching this episode of Leaders Talk. I'm Wang Guan in Jakarta, Indonesia. I'll see you again soon.